What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. It is day 2 of our Titans off-season primer series. Tomorrow is the full-ass mock off-season that I coined yesterday. Today, part 2 is deciding on the priorities for these positions of need between the free agency period and the NFL draft. Yesterday, we ranked the biggest needs on this team, so I think this is a natural second part of this. We're going to go through some philosophy. There's a conundrum the Titans are in a little bit with what they want to be as a team that is rebuilding and a team that is trying to reset its culture, that also has the most money to spend and a good bit of draft capital. They have a lot of needs, so you can shotgun spray all of this stuff if you want to for the Titans. And so we're going to have a good show talking about this. Josh Smash said he is disappointed in Easton's mock draft rankings. And I'm guessing that's you're disappointed in Easton's mock draft simulator rankings.
Well, here's the good news for you, Just Smash. If you have a mock draft simulator that you enjoy, no one's stopping you from enjoying it. Just because I hated it when I tested it does not mean that you can't use it.
Yes, that's true. As my favorite at number 8, but I use it on the phone. So, okay.
Well, I will say there is a pretty a shocking difference with a lot of those simulators, depending on whether you're on a computer or on your phone. And Ryan tested his on his phone. I tested mine on the computer. So my opinion is based on desktop usage.
Yes.
But some of these desktop applications are just overwhelming ads. I do recommend you go read that, by the way.
Yes.
Didn't intend for this to be a plug, but if you don't know what we're talking about, me and Ryan Roberts tested every mock draft simulator that we could find on the internet, and we ranked them and put them in an article, and we listed the strengths and weaknesses. And it was a good exercise because I have a new favorite mock draft simulator now that I had never tried. And I'm like, wow, this thing's great. I would have never known. So go check it out.
A lot to get to here on the show. We will discuss so many things. It is the Day 2, the positions to target in free agency over the NFL draft. We'll put the Titans in that conundrum. We'll talk about the positions the Titans should target the hardest in free agency. We'll also do that for the NFL draft. And then tomorrow is a full mock offseason. A full mock offseason where we're going to use the new tool, Stick to the Model, that is a part of that exercise that Easton and Ryan did on A2Zsports.com yesterday with the ranking the mock simulators. But we'll be going through everything when it comes to cuts, re-signings, trades. There's the free agency period that we'll mock, and then we will also do the mock draft all in one show. I don't know if we're going to have time for it, but we're going to do our damn best at it. So it's going to take maybe 2 hours. So clear your Thursday mornings from anybody else you have responsibility for, everybody out there, because that's going to be a fun show. Nick asked, where is the article at? A2Zsports.com/NFL-draft. So,
or just search Easton, you'll find it.
Or you just A2Zsports.com and you click the NFL draft button and it'll take you to the draft page. So, all right. Lots
there
to
will
get
be a
to.
10-minute intermission during tomorrow show. That's how long we intend
Take a pee break?
No, that's how, when you have a 2-act like that, you have to have an intermission for the audience.
Okay.
That's what we'll be doing.
No. We go straight through it. Hold it. Figure it out.
I'm going to play some elevator music
just
for a couple
put
minutes.
yourself on mute and just run away for a second and come back. It'll be
That's
fine.
right.
All right. So, no, we're going to have a great show today, but eeny, meeny, miny, mo, JT, tell the people what they got to do first.
Yeah, good to see everyone in the chat. Excited for our day 2 of our mock draft primer. Excited to get into some more philosophical talk that we had to hold our tongue on yesterday. I know we had some things we wanted to say, but we're like, yeah, we got to save that for tomorrow's show. Well, tomorrow is here now, and excited to get to all of those things as we, like you said, get ready for our big off-season Palooza primer tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun. Make sure you don't miss that one. But we are here today talking about all of that stuff. Before we get started, however, need a couple things from all of you guys today. First and foremost, if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you guys watching over there. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. And also hit that bell notification button so you know exactly what time we go live every single day. We appreciate you. It goes up into the air, into the algorithm, does so many good things for us that we just don't, frankly, understand, but puts this show on more Titans fans' feeds in the morning when you like that show. We appreciate you. And then on Facebook, good old Facebook. I love you. Hit
Your
that
favorite.
like button. My favorite. Like the show. Hit that like on that page and share the show with a friend. You know, I'm gonna keep track of how many Facebook comments I read today, and then we'll come up with a tally, and we'll see what exactly happens at the end of the
JT
show.
has to drink
Will I
1
remember?
Celsius for every Facebook comment he reads.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Today's the day he dies.
if you're putting it like that, sorry,
JT
Facebook,
will be wired on the mock offseason show tomorrow.
He'll be
Either
unlistenable.
way,
Let's be honest. It'll be
excited
terrible.
to get into today's show. King VC also coming in early this morning, coming in hot with the $4.99 super chat, says he is excited for this show. Lock in, like the show.
Like
Let's
the show.
pay bills with ad reads and get down to business. I'm sure they'll be coming, but we appreciate you, King.
Let's get down to business. You guys, Disney boys, come on.
Of course, yes. No,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So let's do
I
the
actually
official
never
rock.
watched that movie, but
Mulan, Disney princess with by far the highest kill count. Fun fact. Sorry, that's my favorite thing about Mulan is that like when you rank Disney princesses by kill count, it's 0 until you get to Mulan and it's like 1,200. So.
Okay, there you go. That's something that you learned today. All right, let's get going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Wednesday. I'm Austin Stanley alongside JT Runke and Easton Freeze. Bort says it must be my birthday week. It's 2 days in a row, 3-person shows. Well, guess what? We got another one coming up for you on Thursday. But no, we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up there at A to Z Sports. Also, more content on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for you there. Please follow us on Google. That goes a long way for us. I just posted a link to the Google preferred source link. So when you Google Titans offseason, Titans free agency, Titans mock draft, you will see A to Z sports content show up when you follow us. And got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for everybody, and they help out you and us. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. WilsonCountyHyundai.com in Lebanon. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. And Window Nation, take advantage of February's deal. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free, and sprinkle an extra 10% off the top of that right there at windownation.com. You have a free estimate at windownation.com. So, a lot to get to here. Please like the show, and there's so many things to discuss. And we will start off by Brian Callahan getting a new gig. Ironically, the Titans and Giants fired Brian's, and for different roles. So they both get to keep collecting their buyout checks because they're not head coaches, which is important for them. But Brian Daboll, the Titans offensive coordinator, and Brian Callahan, now the Giants quarterback coach, which is ironic.
And passing game coordinator, I learned a minute ago.
Well, it's also...
Now, that's a title that doesn't actually mean anything in the NFL. Any coach will tell you that, but it is a fun little seniority thing.
Pay bump. Yeah, slight pay bump, maybe.
Perhaps.
But also...
Frame it doesn't matter, but...
Name an offensive coaching staff the Titans fan base despises more than the New York Giants, with Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan as a quarterback coach / pass game coordinator.
Hey, but Denard Wilson is DC. Titans fans still like that guy.
Well, and John Harbaugh people wanted John Harbaugh here, and he's got the DC and the former head coach on his staff, and the head coach candidate that nobody else wanted. Could you imagine?
And randomly the linebackers coach.
Yeah, I was about to say Frank Bush is up there as well right now. It's the I mean, you go back even before this the previous Giants regime with Shane Bowen up there, with Todd Downing up there, like it's the Tennessee Titans North right now up in New Jersey.
JT, I'm putting you on assignment on that. You've been talking about this the most. You need to get to the bottom of what's going on with the Titans to Giants head coach or coaching pipeline. Like I don't know what's. There's really only one thing left to do, right? Nick Holtz.
Yeah,
Nick Holtz.
Pack your bags.
Be the associate to the pass game coordinator.
Head to New Jersey, my friend.
Yes. Well, no, I just think it's the irony of John Harbaugh potentially being the Titans head coach and knowing that he's got 3 people on his staff that had no chance of being here.
I'm very excited to revisit because it's not just the Giants situation. It's both of the Titans' first 2 options, right? Like we knew that they were in on Harbaugh the week before they made a hire.
Yeah.
They came in second. We knew that they were in on Stefanski because they were trying to get him in for a second interview, and they got jumped, and they got second place on Stefanski. And that's another coaching staff, less personally relatable, but That whole coaching staff, as it's come out, I've seen nothing but, whew, we dodged a bullet reactions from Titans fans. So both of those staffs, I think Titans fans are already taking a little bit of a lap of like, thank goodness we didn't hire those guys, because look at the staffs they built. Look at the staff that Saleh built. And that feels like a dangerous game to play in February to me. I will not be participating in that. I will be participating in that once I see them coach games in the fall. And there could be some incredible receipts depending on how things go.
Yes. And Lewis, yes, Bernard Wilson was with John Harbaugh in Baltimore before becoming the Titans DC when he was the DB coach underneath Super Bowl champion Mike McDonald as the DC of the Ravens. All right, so let's jump into the actual topic for today, because this is day 2 of 3 days of Titans offseason table setting. Yesterday we went through and we ranked the biggest positions of needs, the biggest needs overall. Today we're going to go through prioritizing free agent spending and targets versus NFL draft currency and targets there, and how you want to go about balancing the two of those. And I think this is kind of a fascinating philosophical deal, because we all know that the Titans want to rebuild this football organization through the draft and develop, right? Draft and develop, repeat. That is the idea that they want to go through. But they also have the most cap space to spend in the entire NFL. And you have to spend 90% of your cap space over a 3-year period. So they have to spend, and we've talked about this to some extent, of how are we going to do both of draft and develop, but also hit your floor on spending with free agency. And free agency is also the chronological first deal before the draft it is. So with that team building being through the draft, how do you think that affects the free agency approach before the draft when you have all this money to spend?
Sure. I think generally speaking, every front office, let's say 30 of the front offices, because there's some weirdos out there, the majority of the front offices in the league want to build through the draft and supplement through free agency. When you hear the Titans say that, that's not unique to them. Now, a lot of people say it. Fewer people actually do it. And so your actions speak louder than your words. I can see better than I can hear, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I'm excited to see for the Titans with so much money to spend in free agency, how they approach that, how they put their money where their mouth is, quite literally. To me, and I guess it's hard to know where to start. I'll just dive in and we can talk about y'all's reaction to this.
Yeah.
I think that the Titans, with their oodles and oodles of money to spend in free agency, need to go hard at non-premium positions. Spend a little bit too much, because you're going to have to spend too much on somebody. It's the nature of having so much money, and it's the nature of free agency in general. You're going to overspend on guys. Spend on the non-premium positions. Set yourself up so that in the draft, and we'll show here in a second why this year in particular it's a good idea to do this, set yourself up in the draft to be primarily addressing edge, wide receiver, and cornerback, the top 3 needs that they have, 3 premium positions. I don't want this to be misconstrued. I'm not saying ignore those things during free agency, because I don't think you can get no wide receivers, no edge rushers, and no cornerbacks in free agency and just fix it all in the draft. That's definitely not the case. But I think that the majority of your money spent needs to be at tight end, at running back, at interior offensive line, bolstering the linebacker position, maybe getting another safety for depth, setting a floor at cornerback. And I want to have a conversation about setting a floor versus reaching for a ceiling in free agency and what's wise there. But that's my 2 cents on it, and I'm curious what you guys think. I think that non-premium positions are the key to maintaining a draft and develop approach to your roster in the draft while having so much money to spend in free agency. Don't fall into the trap like the Titans did 2 years ago of going big on ceiling premium players in free agency.
JT, thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of not getting ahead of myself, but definitely is more of the philosophy that I think I'm going to subscribe to as well. Listen, I've already been on the bandwagon at one of those premium positions, at least in terms of running back, in terms of the shiny things. I would like to go get one of those shiny things as much as I like Tony Pollard, but like that's an area where you could maybe spend a little bit more money, because it's going to bring an instant upgrade to your team at a non-premium position where, because it's non-premium, you're not going to be paying as much as you would to a wide receiver or a cornerback or an edge. Same thing with linebacker. I've talked about how Cody Barton might not be the best fit. So you save not a lot of money, but like $2 million there. Go out and, Devontae Wyatt or someone like that. Another guy that you could reasonably say, yeah, this is the guy we're going to go out here, spend a little bit more money. Once again, not breaking the bank type of money because it is that non-premium position. And then I think the biggest thing that you said there, which I totally subscribe to as well, is you need to build the floor of those positions. You can't not address them in free agency, but instead of perhaps looking at the Romeo Doubs of the world, those type of players, the Trey Hendricksons of the world, all of those guys, no matter where they stack up, they're all going to be at least, I would wager 17 million plus as a floor. Like, that's not where you want to go potentially with those premium positions. You want to build through the draft and get them cost controlled and hopefully have the same amount of skill and talent in that room eventually through the draft and develop method. But to help them along, you go and you look at for cornerback, the guys who are going to be making around, maybe instead of 17 plus million, you go around the 8 to 10 million, the Josh Jobs, the Jason Pinnocks of the world, those types of guys who could potentially be fits and build that floor. I totally agree with you, Easton, on that sense of it in terms of, yeah, that's where you need to be looking to spend your money.
All right, so let's go ahead and throw this into the chat. We'll ask you guys. Some of you guys are already offering it up unprompted because you guys get the show, which is awesome. Which positions should the Titans hit the hardest in free agency? And also, we're going to define premium positions and get specific on what those are. So which position should the Titans hit the hardest in free agency? You can send your answers in the chat. We'll get to all those here shortly. But first, we'll tell you guys about Window Nation, my friends at Window Nation, because I've got Window Nation windows at my house. I'm looking out my office window right now. It's a great window. It's awesome. It's sick. It keeps the temperature inside what it's supposed to be. It saves us money on our bills, and it ups the valuation of our house. So it's a win-win-win. Everybody wins. And it was a great process with Window Nation. They really helped us out. They made it easy. They made it no sweat. We've got no payments for certain many months. The monthly payment is like no big deal. I've got so many like regular bills that are like way more than what the monthly Window Nation bill is going to be. And after I pay them off, I get a free vacation. How about that? I haven't told you that before yet. Yeah.
All right, flex.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but good for you.
I get to like the Caribbean and a resort.
How does that work?
Because Window Nation has
your electric company is going to send you to the Caribbean?
No, Window Nation's got deals.
Vacation deals?
Yes.
Did they have a travel department?
They have a partnership.
Wow.
So when you pay off your
so we've spent months
project,
burying the lead. Get Windows to go to the Caribbean.
I'm just going to buy the windows. I'm not even going to get them installed. I'll just buy the windows and have them.
No, you have to.
Let them sit in the corner of your room. Why'd you buy these windows? Oh, to go to the Caribbean.
You get to pick a cruise or resort. We're like, resort, thank you. And so, once you pay them off, there you go. So windownation.com, and they make it a lot easier for you to pay them off because it's buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free. And this month of February, an extra 10% off right there. So I'm not coming to see Daniel. Tell you that much.
Daniel the partner?
Nope, he is not. And I'm not going to see him when I go to the Caribbean.
Damn.
Paying off these windows.
That's
sorry,
Daniel.
I appreciate your support,
come visit you, Daniel.
But not on my vacation. But we're gonna have we have great windows, great process. Win the Nation's really good at what they do. They make it so easy. Roy runs the Middle Tennessee area. So when you go to windownation.com and you sign up for your free appointment, your free estimate, Roy comes to your house, super comfortable, no pressure, anything right there. Windownation.com is where to go.
Make sure you hit that like button as well, like the show. Make sure if you haven't already, while you're liking the show, hit that subscribe button, like the page, share the show with a friend who wants to get in on the off-season primer topics. Today, I will hit the chat here with which position should the Titans hit the hardest in free agency. If we had a poll, like I know there's more than 4 options, but I know. I mean, we can
work our way to get to a poll if you want to.
Potentially, but The moral of the story here is that it would be a landslide no matter what. Tighten Up starts us off and says cornerback. The Bear says he thinks that they should hit the running back position the hardest. And then we start the landslide here. Joshua, cornerback, need 4 of them. Joshua, 2 Joshuas, back to back here, saying corner, wide receiver, DBs, corner, no doubt. Tall Texan says wide receiver. Cam needs a proven dude. We get back to the cornerbacks, cornerback, corner, wide receiver as well, wide receiver, corner. The Bear adding cornerback to his running back there. Cornerback, edge and cornerback, not wide receiver unless it's Pickens, which, sorry, that's not happening. Edge, then cornerback. Corner, says Jeff on Facebook. There you go. It's 1 Celsius. Eric also saying cornerback, edge, and tight end. That's 2 Celsiuses.
Celsius.
Yeah. Well, Celsius. Yeah. Defensive lineman. I assume he means edge because
not necessarily.
Defensive end. Nate says corner and edge rusher, corner and wide receiver, cornerback, and maybe a wide receiver trade is something that comes up. Interesting thought there. Augustine saying running back, tight end, and cornerback. So going for those more non-premium positions. Cornerback, and wide receiver, edge, cornerback, corner, DB, interior offensive lineman, linebacker. I mean, I could keep going, but I've said
you're good at 7
quarterback so much.
I don't want to derail the conversation, but Austin, you just reminded me. Did everybody see Vrabel yesterday at the podium counting on his fingers? Anybody else see that?
No, but I did hear him saying, Will Campbell's 22 years old. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna get better. He's our left tackle.
That part's true. Go find, if you haven't seen this, go find this clip of Vrabel. Some reporter was like, when you hear these 3 words and then rattled off a 4-word sentence, and Vrabel's just like, it's very funny. You should go find it.
It reminds me of my favorite counting in this situation is I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mike Francesa, one of the OGs of sports radio. There was one segment that he did where he just he was counting. He was trying to figure out how many of things were, and he just counted to 27 on radio. It was 1, 2, 3,
riveting.
4. I'm like, all right, it's just crazy. Anyway, so how many premium positions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
In general,
yes.
Let's talk about it then.
Yeah, because that's what I want to get to. Because I agree with both of you guys. The majority of the free agent dollars the Titans spend need to be at non-premium positions. But then we ask the question to everybody: what position should they hit the hardest? And cornerback is the most popular answer. And cornerback, premium position, right? If we're talking about premium positions in the NFL, quarterback, edge rusher, top 2. Then probably
you said quarterback, right?
Quarterback, yes.
Yeah.
Quarterback, edge rusher are 1 and 2.
Well, you got to throw tackle in there.
And tackle.
Those 3 are in a. I mean, quarterback's in a league of its own. Then tackle, edge is in a league of its own to me.
And then you get to corner, right? I think is corner the 4th premium position. Do you think cornerback is a premium position?
Well, it's kind of matching offense defense, right? So quarterback is in a league of its own for obvious reasons. Tackle and edge are in the next tier because they're really the only 2 positions that, historically speaking, if you want to find one, it has to be round 1 of the draft, or else you're really hoping and praying. You just can't find them elsewhere. Then, and they play each other, right? Tackle and edge. Wide receiver and cornerback, they play against each other. That's kind of the next group. I have opinions about cornerback as a premium position that are maybe different from the consensus, which we can get into, but generally speaking, I think cornerback it is a premium position. There's no doubt.
Okay.
It is. I think it is a lesser or maybe even the least of the premium positions in terms of shooting for a ceiling, and that's because of these premium positions. It's the only one where you have 3 of them on the field at a time, and your best one does not dictate the terms of every game. If that makes sense. Is
wide receiver also a premium position?
Yes, and it's more premium because your best one can dictate the terms of the game.
Because you can also have 3 of those on the field at the same time.
Right, that's my point. Is you have 3 of both of those things, but your best receiver can break the game. Your best cornerback can break the game depending on your opponent. Like if your opponent has one receiver.
Well, it's also like your worst cornerback breaks the game against you.
Great way of putting it is that at cornerback, you are only as good as your worst corner. At wide receiver, you are not only as good as your worst wide receiver, you're as good as your best wide receiver.
Yes. So, okay, to kind of make sure we said everything, because I think the consensus across the board, even though I disagree with it yesterday, was the cornerback position is the biggest need because they have two bodies there, L'Jarius Sneed, who is always on IR, and then Marcus Harris, going into his second year as a 6th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have as many bodies. So when you're talking about what position you hit the hardest, corner makes sense because you have to sign an entire room.
So of the 3 premium positions we know the Titans need and have talked about till we're blue in the face, it sounds like JT agreed with me on this. It's the position that I think they should, quote unquote, hit the hardest in free agency. Number one, because between wide receiver, edge, and cornerback every single year is easily the most fruitful position group in free agency because there are many more of them than starting tackles and edges, starting edges and wide receivers that tend to hit the market. I think that's also kind of a reflection of the fact that it is the premium position that floor matters the most for.
Right. And it's also the one, I think it's premium position is where you're most likely, or cornerback is the premium position you're most likely to get burned in free agency by. Because their dollar amount is
interesting.
Their dollar amount is so crazy high.
You're talking about cornerback?
Corner, yes.
Oh, I completely disagree on this. This is interesting.
Okay, so think about the corners that the Titans have acquired, not through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Butler, tons of money. L'Jarius Sneed, tons of money. Logan Ryan, a lot of money.
Let's talk. Like Sneed, disaster, but that was a trade.
Right.
Logan Ryan, not a disaster. Malcolm Butler, not a disaster. I think of guys like Jackrabbit Jenkins, who got a ton of hate, but was actually good.
Right. Malcolm Butler, the same thing. Got a lot of hate because of how much money he was paid. Because the nature of your job as a cornerback is to lose.
Yeah.
Another thing Mike Vrabel said yesterday, talking about Will Campbell, is that when you're a left tackle, a quarterback, and a cornerback, you are going to be on an island and you're going to get criticized by everybody and their mom and their aunt on Facebook.
Oh, it's the Will Campbell college quote that's being used against him right now, where he's if you allow 1 sack a game, you're working at Walmart or whatever.
But the nature, and how many times did the Patriots have a tight end to help out Will Campbell? Not much, not much at all. But the nature of the cornerback is to get smoked. You're going to get beat. Like it's like kind of like the baseball. If you allow a 50% completion percentage, like you're doing a pretty good job because everybody expects their quarterback to throw for 70% completion rate.
Yes. And so I think we're actually kind of talking about the same thing, but we came to different conclusions. Because what I was about to say before you mentioned getting burned in free agency was a big part of why I think you always have a better group of cornerbacks in free agency than wide receivers or edges is because cornerback, it's such a unique position. I think it's also unique in the way that year to year, there's the least carryover. I think of any position in the entire sport. It is so volatile, and that's because, to your point, you can count on one hand the number of plays that dictate your season. You can play 1,000 snaps of defense as a cornerback, and if you allow 5 80-yard touchdown receptions, people think you suck. And that's 5 out of 1,000 snaps. You can be the world's greatest shutdown corner on 995 snaps.
Yeah. And sometimes the guy making $25 million a year just makes a play.
Right.
Because he caught a ball that was right on spot from the dude who's making $50 million a year. You know, like it's just, that's the nature of the position. So I guess cornerback is the position most likely to get burned in free agency. More like it's the hardest position, I think, to live up to the free agent contract.
Well, so then you start to talk about ceiling, right? And that's where I wanted to get for the Titans is of the 3 positions we know they need, it's the position I want them to spend the most energy on in free agency, but it's setting the floor. 2 years ago when they swung for the fences with Sneed, that was swinging for a ceiling, right? And that was swinging for a cornerback one that completely flamed out. You need to set a baseline for this room with B and C and D tier free agent cornerbacks you have a ton of money. So like if you end up, and I'm just pulling a number out of thin air, if you end up spending, I don't know, 35 million AAV in total on this upcoming season on cornerbacks and free agency, I don't have an issue with that as long as you have brought in bodies that are going to set the floor. I really don't.
Yeah. How many bodies is that?
Correct. How
many bodies is $35 million?
Like three viable guys.
I need more bodies.
Sure. But yes, you're going to add some guys that are like
exactly.
minimum contracts.
So you're talking about like in the initial like
I'm talking like
free agency wave.
Go sign a guy that is going to be 13 million AAV, a guy that's going to be 10 million AAV, and a guy that's going to be 8 million AAV.
Yeah.
Like those B tier contracts that make up the meat and potatoes of your. Do not go. Do we have the free agent cornerback list? Who's the guy that we think
we
is
didn't talk about having it in the pre-show?
That's right. So the guy that's going to make the most money here, like the one who probably deserves it the most, is Jalen Watson. But since he's going to end up back with the Chiefs, maybe he goes on a more friendly deal. Jamel Dean is the guy that I think Tampa Bay wants, from what I read. Tampa Bay wants him back, but people aren't expecting him to be back because they think he's going to make a ton of money. So maybe he gets the most money. I'm going to go look up to see what his projected
I said
is.
Alontae Taylor, who's a very popular one. While you're looking that up, Alontae Taylor is not on this list. We talked about him some yesterday. Spotrac hit his market value around like 11.5-ish. So would Alontae Taylor be like your free agent corner 1 or your free agent corner 2?
That's the ballpark that I'd want to live in for the most expensive free agent corner.
Because guys, I will tell you this: the contracts are going to be big. Like the sticker shock this year is going to be bigger than it ever has been.
We're going to have to start talking about these contracts in terms of percentage of the cap, because you're right. It's inflation is skewing the way that we see these things. Jamel Dean's going to make in the $14-15 million range. So if he's the highest paid guy in free agency,
it's going to be 16, 17.
Right. I'm not going, I mean, like, I won't be furious or anything. I'm going to question if the Titans come out of free agency with the highest paid cornerback. But I'm not going to question if they come out with like 3 guys making around 10 average a year.
I think that is the right approach in my opinion.
But I don't feel that way about wide receiver or edge. This is just a cornerback conversation. It has a lot to do with the fact that they have nobody.
I agree. I agree. Okay. So JT, back to your comment reading and counting. After cornerback, what was the second most popular answer on position the Titans should hit the hardest in free agent?
Yeah. After that, it gets really, I would have to say edge was probably the next top one, which I think can be put into the same conversation as what you guys just laid out there. Because for me, I'm more of the same thinking of Easton in this, that technically you could come out of free agency saying that the Titans attacked cornerback the hardest, with that meaning you signed 5 guys for $40 million total. Like he said, a 13 million, a 10 million, an 8 million, and then 2 guys on $2 to $3 million to put. And then obviously they're going to bring in a bunch of guys to practice squad, tryouts, UDFAs like they did last year and whatnot. I think you could see the same thing for edge, maybe like bringing in, like if they bring in 4 guys at cornerback, they bring in 2 for like edge that are like backup, like rotational type of guys.
Same ballpark.
So I mean that is the same thing as going hard at that position, not necessarily monetarily. I think more so just like bringing in guys is how I would describe going the hardest at a position. There were a lot of people that were also talking about tight end as one that they attack, and I can see that maybe from the opposite perspective of not necessarily guys, but monetary value, because you have so many good options out there. Kyle Pitts, David Njoku, Cade Otton, Daniel Bellinger, who could be a really good fit, Isaiah Likely. I could keep going on and on about the guys.
Chig. I mean and Chig counts in that too.
Yeah, Chig wanted to go a little older, like Dallas Goedert's also out there, a proven guy. Like
Dallas Goedert is the MVP, or no, not the MVP. Dallas Goedert is the secret weapon behind the tush push. He is the secret reason that nobody talks about them, why that works so much in Philadelphia.
And that's why the Eagles are going to move on, because the play's going to get banned.
Yes. No.
Potentially.
Okay.
I mean,
so
all those guys. Yeah.
all right.
Like
So I think
that's the
there's
one position I think you could say like monetarily, like you could see them that in running back, you could see them like put the most money AAV into somebody.
so money versus bodies hit the hardest. Hit the hardest via your cash or your bodies. Cornerback, I think, checks both of those. I think another position that they would probably hit hardest with the most bodies, but more of the replacement level type bodies, is the defensive line. Like not
Sure.
the edge, yes, but the D line, because they have a lot of turnover there. Robert Saleh likes to rotate his interior defensive linemen. There's a little bit of a change of scheme to an extent. And so I think they're going to have to bring in several guys because the current D line depth chart is a lot of UDFAs and guys that we don't really have that much familiarity with what they can actually accomplish in the NFL.
And the
Back to our
market's not
ranking
going to
of-
break the bank.
No,
Right.
you're right. And back to our conversation about ranking premium positions. If it's quarterback at the top, then tackle and edge, then wide receiver, cornerback.
So
I
five
think,
premiums.
right, you got those five. I think a lot of people, generally speaking, end the list of true premium positions there. The way that the league is moving, and you see a lot of people talk about this basically every year, this time of year for the past 3 or 4. Defensive line is becoming that. You could really make a strong argument for defensive linemen being a premium position. They're kind of in that no man's land. Like if we go to the bottom of the list, what are the least premium positions? It's running back. It's linebacker.
Safety.
Inside linebacker.
It's safety.
It's guys that you would like crunch your nose at if you drafted in the top 5.
So yeah, I mean, like really the clear last place one is running back, which is unfair to running backs, but it's just the reality. I mean, go look at the AAV of every Super Bowl winning running back for the last 15 years. It's a bunch of dudes that are making no money. So you really don't need to spend big on running back. It's not some death knell if you do, but you really super don't need to. Defensive line is, I mean, if we're learning
now,
lessons from the
Saquon
Super Bowl-
Barkley was making a lot more money because that was the first year of his free agent contract where he had a shit ton of.
Well, yeah, but if you go
signing
look at the
bonus
chart
and
of the last 15 years, it's like Saquon and then a bunch of dudes on rookie contracts.
well, and LeGarrette Blount like 4 different times on 4 different contracts
Sure. But none of those
with 3 different teams.
Right, exactly. Defensive line is what won the Seahawks the Super Bowl. Like if we want to boil it all the way down, like super duper simple, you heard Kyle Shanahan talking about it before the game that they're going to get after the pat and a lot. This is what Robert Saleh wants to do too. Different horses at their disposal, but it's what he wants to do. They get after the passer and stop the run with light boxes, and they keep an extra man in coverage, and so it really puts a lid on your passing game and forces you to beat their guys in the box. And when you've got really good defensive linemen, you can just space eater is the wrong word because that's really like a connotation of it's not the strongest connotation in the world, but it's guys that can dominate the box without help. It's the guys that the Seattle has along their offensive line. It's the Jeffrey Simmonses of the world. When you have a team like that, and it requires a hockey rotation. To your point, Austin,
yes,
like you've got to have eight dudes you rotate into 4 spots basically, and that's what the Seahawks just did.
And Daniel Caribbean adds Seattle defensive line was primary guys that are 30 plus. Williams, Lawrence, Nwosu, Reed, go get some vets. And then Big Rich comes in and says, I think we need to stop doing this and understand that we're not solving every position in one offseason. Even the contenders understood that. Did the Patriots solve every problem? No, of course. But like I think that's what we're talking about with the floor raising aspect of free agency. Because it's draft and develop is the primary rebuild tool. Draft and develop, but you have to raise the floor across the board with free agents. And I agree that the D line is you need some grown men. Like you need guys with like 3 kids coming here with like, that can play in your D line and platoon in and out of that D line to go along with Jeff and Sweat and some of the others that you have to help out the developmental edges that you're going to have in the top of the first round of the draft and Famil Adejo and whoever else you have in there. So I think that's kind of where I like the ability of signing several defensive linemen to help out with that raising the floor there. And cornerback, I think we're all aligned on that one. So is there any we've covered a lot of ground on the free agents? Ray School, D-line is a dad strength position. Like, great. Yeah. And caps, no. Does not mean that you can all do it. Just because you have 3 kids doesn't mean you can play D-line. But if you can play D-line and you have 3 kids, then that separates you.
I just want to mention at edge, because JT pointed out so many people said edge. I will be rolling my eyes if this team goes and spends a ton of money on like a top edge rusher. One exception: if somehow the Eagles say, Jalen Phillips, we don't want you, and the Titans say, we want that guy, I will probably come around on it just because I really like that fit. It's not going to happen, but that would be the one where I probably put my priors aside.
So I think if the Titans,
you know what bucket they need to be shopping in? Like if we're talking about the 10 million AAV bucket, it's the Jahad Ward bucket. That's what after this past season his
Draymond
OTC
Jones
evaluation is right now. If we're talking about the 2 guys they have being Femi Oladejo and Jalen Harrell, and ideally you want those guys to fit somewhere in between edge 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. But I think realistic speaking this year, it's 2, 3, 4. Maybe Femi ideally is a 2, Harrell ideally is a 4. Okay, well then you need a 3 and you need a 5. Jahad Ward is the kind of 3 you should bring back to make that guy. And then in the draft, that pick number 4 specifically, go and find your number 1.
Yes. I think, all right, can we agree on this statement? You can answer no, but if the Titans sign, or we do not think the Titans should sign a cornerback and an edge rusher in free agency north of 21 AAV.
Agreed. With bizarro world exceptions for guys that we expect to not be free somehow being free. And really I'm just talking about Alec Pierce and Jalen Phillips. Like if Alec Pierce was somehow free,
there's 2 guys. You get 2 hall passes.
Those are the hall passes. And even then I won't be saying this is some rousing success, but I'll get it.
You can get me on one of those with Jalen Phillips. If we're given, I think Alec Pierce is really come on, but $20 million for Alec Pierce to potentially still not.
Oh, and he's going to get more than that.
I know, but if the Titans, I'm sure, and the Colts are probably going to do it, and I'll laugh at them, and we'll see what happens after that. But if the Titans were to do that, I don't know how I'd feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah, big,
because you still need a 1.
Why not? So the question of why not, fair. I think it's because they have so many holes they have to fill, and just don't get. It's like I always use this reference. It's you set your tee time. You're walking up to the first tee box. I'm not gonna just grip it and rip it and use my driver. I'm gonna hit the fairway. I'm gonna be good. And then when you're at the top of your backswing, you tighten that grip up. You say F it, and then you hit it in the rough. Don't you just stay disciplined. Discipline, I think, is the why not answer.
Well, but I think he's asking, why do you need discipline? The answer is history. History, it's not ambiguous. It's very clear, historically speaking. Addressing premium positions in free agency is a great way to spend way too much of your cap allocation on players that don't live up to what you're paying them.
Yeah.
Drafting premium positions and developing them is a great way to win Super Bowls.
Yes. Josh asks, Austin, have you had your draft dream yet for this year? I have not. It is too early for that.
It's far too early.
Yeah. Now, I did have a weird dream last weekend, and I texted a college buddy of mine who I haven't seen in a long time. It was like a combination of Star Wars and Hunger Games, and me and my college buddy were sent out by the government to go to a different planet to accomplish something. It wasn't very clear when I woke up, but we were successful. But it was like an apocalyptic type situation, and we had to travel planets, and it was wild. So,
congrats, man.
So the draft dream should be coming.
Real quick on that. You have draft premonitions. I wasn't here for this last year.
Yes.
You have.
I don't think I had one last year. The most recent one was I dreamed they were going to take Will Levis at 11.
I see.
So your premonitions suck because they didn't do that.
They did. They drafted him though.
Where?
They did draft him at 33.
Yeah.
We all know that you have to multiply your dreams by 3 and you're fine.
Is that how it works?
Yep.
Yes.
I guess that's how that works.
You need a better dream interpreter, it sounds like.
There was one before my Will Levis dream that was like I had like 3. It was wild.
He's like the orb teacher from Harry Potter.
So Josh says, who do y'all prefer they draft as a follow-up? We will use that to transition into our next conversation here. And that is, we just talked about free agent attacking, right? And so now we're going to get to what positions they should hit the hardest in the draft. Before we dive into that question, I think there's some good analysis we can have about what this draft class is. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about the Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. BartonDrury.com is the website. They are great people. They are really good at what they do. What they do is insurance across the board, whether it's for your family, personal insurance, like health coverage, like your home, like your auto, any of those type of policies. They can also help you out with 401k planning and your financial future. Or on the business side of things, if you are part of your company's HR department or your company's leadership, or maybe you have a small business yourself and you need all types of insurance policies to make sure that you don't end up on the wrong end of some ridiculous lawsuit that you don't deserve. So that could be a workers' comp policy. That could be health coverage for your employees, whatever that looks like. They've got you covered right there online at BartonDrury.com.
Hit that like button, like the show. Make sure you're subscribed. Jack also with the super chat, $1.99 says JT needs the mislabeled alcohol Celsiuses for the Celsius challenge.
Sure.
Wired and drunk.
Yeah, so you're at 7.
I'm done reading comments.
And so if you had 7 high noons instead of 7 Celsiuses, that would be pretty wild.
It'd actually be way better for you. I'd be way more concerned for your health if you drank 7 Celsius
you're saying
than if you drank 7
I
high
could
noons.
do a show on 7 high noons.
I've seen JT on 7 high noons. He's functioning. The 7 Celsiuses, no one's functioning on that.
Yeah, so that's 7 Celsius, 1,400 milligrams of caffeine versus 7 alcoholic seltzers. I agree. The 7 seltzers is the safest option.
Yeah, 7 seltzers is a like a moderately involved Saturday night.
That's
7 Celsius
an afternoon at the pool, man.
7 Celsius is you never get to 7 because your heart explodes after 5.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so before we dive into the draft side of this, we need to evaluate the class that is this draft class. So I've got graphics from yesteryear available. So here is the current Titans draft slate. So you've got the top of the order there. Titans are picking 4th. And then remember, they rotate with those other top 4 teams in every round at the top. So they have the 3rd pick of the 2nd round at 35, the 2nd pick of the 3rd round at 66, the 1st pick on day 3, 4th round at 101, and then they have the Jets and their own pick at the top of the 5th round, and so on and so forth there. They don't have their own 7th round pick. So there's that. And then Dane Brugler has his top 100 out, and Zach Lyons was efficient enough with his spreadsheets to take these top 100 players from Dane Brugler that came out yesterday and then categorize them by position and then thresholds of top 100 total, top 50 total, and top 25 total. So top 25 quarterbacks, there are 1, Fernando Mendoza. There are 2 in the top 50. I'm guessing Ty Simpson is that 2nd. And I don't know who the top 3rd would be or who the 3 in the top 100 would be. So that's kind of how that reads. So 5 wide receivers in the top 25, but 17 total in the top 100. So I think that's useful information. Easton, you sent this to our chat yesterday. What was your biggest takeaway from this chart?
My biggest takeaway was that I see 3 green bars. And they're the 3 green bars that the Titans need. So how fortuitous, right? There's
across all levels, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Titans need wide receiver, edge, and cornerback, and the 3 green bars all the way across on this chart are wide receiver, edge, and cornerback. So it seems like a pretty good year to need wide receiver, edge, and cornerback to me.
And with the Titans having 3 picks in the top 66, I'm looking at 9 wide receivers plus 8 defensive ends, edges, plus 8 corners. So quick math, that tells me there are 25 of those players in the top 50. So half the top 50 are where the Titans need. And the Titans could get 3 of those players because of how the draft board plays out with 66.
That's right. They could get 4 of these top 100 players because they're, what do they pick, 104?
That wouldn't be that
or
crazy.
101 or whatever
That
it is.
just means one guy slides a spot.
Yeah. You know what? I'd bet on that. I'd bet one of those guys slides a spot.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, yeah, I think it's just a strong year to need those things and really further reinforces our A to Z Sports front office philosophy of don't ignore those positions in free agency, but really try to address your the top end of your top end needs in the draft more so than in free agency. In free agency, supplement everything else on the roster that you need.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this out
real quick as well. Like, I think that is an important distinction there, Easton. Don't ignore it. Like, it's a mandate. It's mandatory to do it because you look at that top 100, and I will continue to sprinkle this in everywhere I can on that top 100 just because it is the deepest positions doesn't necessarily mean like they are it's that this class is loaded at those positions, right? It just so happens to be the best of a maybe potentially not great draft class. Like, so they're going to get their guys. It's just going to be important on how they pick and choose to do that.
It does. This is a weaker draft class. If you ask Ryan Roberts, he will use a much stronger word to describe the draft class.
I'm not sure I agree with any of that yet, but
I know you were waiting on that. I listened to Todd McShay. I was texting with you guys about the Todd McShay podcast where he did his mock, his second mock, and he actually likes this draft class a lot. And
so the thing that I agree on is that at the top, like the top 10 players, it lacks juice. That part's true. Like there are not as many clear top 5, top 10, top 15 players in this class. So it's a quote unquote bad year to have like the 12th pick because you're probably not getting one of those top flight blue chip guys. The rest of it, I'm not so sure we're going a little bit overboard on how bad the class is.
Well, I think you look at next year's draft class, and it is just juicy.
But we always do this, man. The best draft is the next draft.
We
Remember how
saying
awesome
that
this year's quarterback class is going to be? Man, it was going to be so cool.
Well, I'm not talking about quarterbacks. Like, yeah, quarterback.
I know, but that's just the latest example of like.
But there are guys at premium positions that will be in the top 10 that are like, I don't care. I'm picking 5. I don't care who falls to me. I'm happy to have them. Like next year, right?
My
like,
point is, I'm with you that next year's class, like I will too be surprised if next year's class doesn't feel like an upgrade over this year's class because of how many exciting premium guys there seem to be. But I would bet a copious amount of money that if today you went to whoever draftnik of choice and said, hey, give me a list of the reasons why next year's class is going to be so awesome, and they give you a list of 15 names, you're like, this guy and this guy and this guy, we could put that list in a vault and then open it back up exactly 1 year from today. And I guarantee that list of players is at least half dudes that either returned to school or had really crappy years and everybody hates now.
Yeah. It is going to be fascinating to watch the NIL situation, how that explodes, because I mean, Jeremiah Smith is making so much money at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And is Ohio don't put it past Ohio State to see if they can keep him for a senior year.
Oh, they'll try. They'll obviously try.
Yeah,
they'll fail,
not
but they'll
work,
try.
But I mean, yeah. So, yeah, and we're back on Arch Manning watch because he ended the season very strong. But there's other players. It's not just the quarterback next year. So, okay, I wanted to ask this question to get this out of the way. Because based on how we view this chart with the 3 bars that are green from left to right, wide receiver, D-end, edge, and corner, there are 5, 4, and 3 top 25 players. Now, the Titans had the 4th pick.
Mm-hmm.
So the top 25 isn't narrow enough.
Kind of irrelevant, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's not quite irrelevant, but it's still I think it matters for the 35th pick that you have in the second round. And maybe you get one of those guys because there's 12 of them that could.
Well, so let's roughly narrow it because we would like for this chart to have a top 10 too.
Yeah.
And
even a top 10 doesn't really even do that justice because you're fourth.
Right, but it would be closer because if you take a guy that we all agree is top 10 at 4, at least he's like, well, he's a top 10 guy. I'm not looking at Dane's thing, so I'm going to guesstimate here just based on what I know about this class. I'm going to guesstimate of the 5 top 25 receivers, he's got one of them in the top 10.
2. I would say 2.
Okay,
I'm
one
going
or
to pull it up now.
One or okay, well then just do that. That's fine.
Well, it's loading. Hold on.
The point is, there's going to be more edge guys in that group than there are going. I am sure that there are 3 edge guys in that grouping for Brugler as we are stalling for you to pull this up.
Well,
I also think it's worth mentioning, by the way, just because there's so much edge depth in that top 100. You see the green bar all the way across. I will reiterate it 1,000 times this spring. If you want a star edge 1. You have to. That doesn't mean that the guys in round 2 and round 3 are bad edge players. They are good edge 2s. Some of them are great edge 2s. But if you want a stud, history tells us you must get him in the first round.
All right. So what was the question you wanted answered from Dane's top 100?
Well, just like of wide receiver, edge, and cornerback, what are the numbers in the top 10?
All right. So I'll start with edge. Do you count Orville Reese?
Yes.
He is 1 overall.
Makes sense.
David Bailey 6.
Mm-hmm.
Ruben Bain 9.
So 3 guys, like we thought. Okay. So
now you want wide receiver?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's none or 1.
In what?
The top 10.
Carnell Tate 10.
So 1.
Jordan Tyson 12. Mekhi Lemon 14.
Right. So 1
and then
top
you
10
get
guy and he is 10.
Casey Concepcion is 22. Denzel Boston is 25. And I feel like Denzel Boston is getting a lot of love.
Boston's going to get a lot of love. JT and I were talking about this. There's a player from Indiana that I've got my eye on who's going to get a lot of love, I think, and that trades.
Surratt?
No, the other one.
Oh, Cooper?
Omar Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cooper train seems to be leaving the station.
Okay, so back to where I was trying to get us to kind of agree on. There's only one position the Titans can take it for, right?
I think so. I'll plant that flag today.
My brain says yes.
Already.
My heart is not. Here. Can I play? Because I'm with you guys. Like, it sounds like you both are saying it with reckless abandon. Yes, it's going to be edge, and I am so close to being with you. Here's the one little squeaky, mousy voice in the back of my head that has me waiting. And I don't know.
Caleb Downs. What?
That's right. Ty Simpson.
Jeremiah Love.
That's right. It's not a player. It's not a player that's in the back of my head. It's a reading the tea leaves thing. I don't know if I was talking to Nick Suss about this or heard him say it on a podcast, but he made a point that has stuck with me that I don't think is crazy, and that I want to do some real investigation on in Indianapolis. So tune back in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and it's that with Saleh as the guy and his reputation for being a do more with less developer of the defense, I guess there's always a question of when the guy at the top of your coaching structure is oriented one way or another, you can either go the route of giving him the best possible tools, or you can try to supercharge the other side of the ball so that you can lean on that guy doing more with less.
Right.
And Suss, his opinion was that he thinks it might be a little bit more likely now that they don't go edge at 4 overall because they're going to try to give Brian Dable a supercharged offense, lean into the Cam Ward of it all, which, again, like, at the end of the day, are we going to blame them if they're like, it's all about Cam, we're going to give Cam everything humanly possible?
Think
you may not agree with it, but at least you can understand, okay, that tracks, fair enough. So ask me after the combine to plant that flag. I'm like 95% they are on that flag, because as I tweeted 2 days ago, there is a concert festival sized stack of speakers in the back of my head playing 24/7 edge at 4 or bust, because the history is just so crystal clear. That part's true. If they don't go edge in the first round, you're going to have edge problems again. Like, that part's a fact.
correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were both born after the Titans played their first game as Titans in the Adelphia Coliseum, right?
Was that in 99?
The 99 season. You guys were born after that season began.
Yeah, I was born in like week 9 of that season.
Right. And JT, you were like in the summer, right? Or whatever.
2000,
yes.
Late spring, summer, whatever you want to call it.
This guy doesn't remember the 90s.
So there is one edge rusher the Titans have drafted in the first round in y'all's lifetime.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Derek Morgan.
Mm-hmm. One.
Because Javon Curse was drafted in the spring before when Easton was working his way through the process of the 9 months.
I was growing arms and legs.
Yeah, you was like second trimester Javon Curse drafted by the Titans.
And then Landry was a pick in the 30s, early day 2, right?
42.
Okay, 40. Yeah, so early day 2, but not quite first round.
So it's crazy, right? Like it's been
which means
one.
It's time.
It has been time. It is expired. It is the bomb has gone off already. Yeah. So they're due there. So I think I think because of what we just talked through with the positions.
Can I lay it out this way? This kind of is just all clicking for me. This is the strongest argument from a philosophy standpoint for edge at 1. Because if we know which 3 positions they need. I think these are facts. If they do not take an edge at 4, they're going to have edge problems again this year. They just are.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think there's a world where that happens, and you have to say, like earlier in the comment, I think it was from Big Rich, said you can't do everything in one offseason. And I think you have to be okay. If you prioritized, which that goes against what I said. Because I said the top of my offseason priority list on my notepad, it's difference-making edge.
Mm-hmm. So I think you can. Let me phrase it this way. I don't think you can in a satisfactory way address edge this offseason without taking one in the first round. I think you can address wide receiver and cornerback in perfectly satisfactory ways by not taking them in the first round.
Yes.
And then if you take a position that's not one of those 3 things in the first round, which I guess would just be Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love, then we have a whole nother can of worms to talk about.
If you want to go back to the Rand Carthon offseason where they quote unquote said they checked every box, which they did not, but they said they did. The only way that they can conceivably check every box is to draft an edge in the first round.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what it feels like. Now that's again not to say that if they take a first round edge, then all of your woes disappear and the clouds open up and the sun shines.
Right.
Through.
It has to work.
The guy could suck. It could take a while. But
right. Yeah, and Derek Morgan, the one edge player that they have drafted in the first round in both of your lifetime, tore his ACL before his rookie season. That kind of tells you how that goes. It's not a guarantee. It's just the only way they can do it all in one. So, all right. We're not going to have the Ruben Bain conversation today because we're going to have that, I'm sure, a lot all over the place. So let's go ahead and get into this, the deeper part of it when it comes to the other 3 picks, because the Titans have valuable picks, 35, 66, and then you can add 101. I want to know, what do you have? What is a must? What do you have to come out of that with as of right now? What positions, not player names, but what do you have to come out of 35, 66, 101? If you take those 3, group them together, you got to have blank. So I want to get to that. But first, Easton, tell us all about the Bone and Joint Institute.
I'd love to. The Bone and Joint Institute is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust. We trust our friends at boneandjointtn.org. They're located in Franklin, just off of I-65. They have over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury, state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help you with your recovery. They do everything under one roof. They're not sending you running around town for a million different referrals. They have a clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, and rehab center in-house. So schedule an appointment today at boneandjointtn.org.
Hit that like button, like the show. Make sure you're also subscribed. We'll get to the comments here as you were talking about what the Titans have to get out, what they have to have in the draft, specifically in those first 3 picks here. We'll get to these comments. Let's start with here we go. Ada Slama says wide receiver or cornerback in the second. So it sounds like you're taking one of those guys there. No edge in the second. Cap says cornerback. You have to come out of the top 3 picks with a cornerback. Ada Slam also says wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker. Just Smash says you have to come out with a starting cornerback, which I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. But if you have to come out of the first 3 picks with a starting cornerback, that to me sounds like you're taking a cornerback at 35. Like if he has to be a starter.
The odds say yes. I'd agree with you there.
Eric says wide receiver, edge, and cornerback in no particular order.
So that would mean so that take rock would be a double down at edge in your first 4 draft picks.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah. Me neither. Let's see. Andre says his first 4 picks would be edge, wide receiver, cornerback, and then a center or guard. Nick also believing that's cornerback, wide receiver, and the future center is something that he'd be interested in. Edge, wide receiver, cornerback, doubling up a cornerback. Edge, wide receiver, cornerback. Don't hate that, depending on where you go with those cornerbacks. Dalen says wide receiver and corner, preferably wide receiver at 35 or 66. Don't need another round 4 wide receiver. We already have enough of those on the roster.
Edge last one you drafted at 101 worked out pretty well.
I was about to say, just go back to the well.
Wide receiver at 4, edge second round, corner third. Let's see. So was that
a wide receiver 4 from Jeff? Jeff is just trying to get his boy Carnell Tate.
Yes.
Top 5.
Yes, of course.
No, there's the whole thing of like, every Ohio State wide receiver works. Even the guy who was the least NFL prototype wide receiver from Ohio State that went the latest in the draft just won Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And
I don't think any of us dislike Carnell Tate. I mean,
I don't. But
I'd bet on him being a good NFL player.
I do, but JSN certainly didn't go top 5.
Emeka
certainly didn't go top 5. Marvin Harrison went.
The guy that went 4 is the least impressive of them so far.
Name recognition alone. Garrett Wilson didn't go top 5. Chris Olave didn't go top 5. Like
those guys were like 10, 12, right?
Are we really thinking Carnell Tate is worth the top 5 investment? That's my one question.
Can I plant a flag? I have a flag to plant.
Oh, finally!
Wow. Okay.
As much as I'd be happy to be wrong about this, I genuinely would be pleased. A lot of people, understandably, being like they need to go edge, wide receiver, corner, or edge, wide receiver, corner. And I want to talk about the philosophy of doubling up here in a second. But in their first 4 picks, they will spend at least one of those picks on something that's not one of these top 3 positions. Like there's just no way, because that like as much as they need those things, Mike Borgonzi is a process-oriented GM. He's not going to let need dictate his board like that. He's just not. He will take the top guy and go BPA at one of those picks at least.
But that's what we're talking about here, right? That's what this is showing you.
Right.
That the likeliness of BPA being one of those 3 spots where they're picking at especially 35 and 66 and even 101. There's a better chance unless it's tackle. Like tackle is the one thing that's going to get in the way here. And there's no way they're going to do that. Like that would be ridiculous. If they drafted a tackle at 35 or 66, you're like, what the? You're like,
there's another flag I'll plant. I will make fun of them if they draft a tackle at 35 or 66.
But like, okay, so there's a 50% of the top 50 players are the 3 positions.
So to answer the actual question, of their first 4 picks, they need to spend at least 3 of them on their 3 biggest needs.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And then 1 is kind of your...
I'd love for that 4th one to also be one of these positions, because I subscribe strong. If you read my most recent mock draft, you know this, and I'm almost certainly going to push for this tomorrow when we do our mock draft live on the show. Doubling up is the way to go, especially when you have the opportunity to do so at premium positions in the draft. It just works. You break that pool cue over your knee, you throw it into the room and say, hey, you 2 young wide receivers, like the Titans did this past year with the 4th round guys. Figure it out. At least one of you go be great. And one of them was a all-pro. Not as a receiver, but he had a really impressive season as a 4th-round pick. And he is an exciting receiver prospect going into year 2. They both were promising. So that's the way to go. I talked about this on the radio yesterday. You have to control what you can control in the NFL draft. And I forget how, I think Ramon on the radio said it to me, like, how do you make sure you don't miss? You can't, right? Yeah. You can't. The best GM in the history of the league is still not better than a 50% shooter in the draft. It's impossible. It is at best a coin flip, and usually it's a dice roll, which means you have 3 or 4 or 5 sides on there, and your odds are much lower on hitting the further you go into the draft. What you can control is multiplying your odds. And this is very statistics nerdy, but if one of your draft picks is a 35% dice roll and one of them is a 25% dice roll, if you spend them both on the same position, you have multiplied your odds of having at least one good player at that position. That's just math. So do that. That's what you can control.
Yeah, it's like the Titans in the 2016 draft. They hit on a lot of foundational pieces came from that 2016 draft. Jack Conklin was a 1st-round pick, Derrick Henry in the 2nd round, Kevin Byard in the 3rd round. But they also missed on Kevin Dodd at 33, and Austin Johnson was like the 40th pick or something like that, right around.
But no one cares because you found the dudes.
But Austin Johnson was fine, right? Dodd flamed out. That sucked really bad, but you had studs, right?
And this gets back to the checking every box thing. That is a dangerous trap to fall into, because when you do try to check every box, like you see a lot of mock drafters do this, where it's like the Titans need this, 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 and this, and it feels like an awesome mock draft because of their 7 biggest needs, you filled all 7. That's awesome on paper because you're banking on all 7 of your draft picks being good because you picked them because you think they're going to be good. A wise GM realizes, even though I think all 8 of my picks are going to be good players, because that's why I drafted them, I think they're going to be good players, odds are, at best, half of them will be. Yeah. So if only half of them will be, don't try to check every box. Try to check the most important boxes by doubling and, dare I say, tripling up.
Yeah, and the Jared says the draft should be the best player available to an extent, right? Because according to...
It should be more best player available than it is need.
According to Dane Brugler's top 100, and Dane Brugler is one of the most respected draft analysts out there, but everybody's got their own big board, right? And every GM is going to manipulate their big board after they draft their class to make it make sense. So, like, Jeremiah Love is the 3rd best player on the board. Caleb Downs is the 4th best player on the board. Sonny Styles is his 5th. So you got 3 non-premium positions right there at 3, 4, 5. So if you're going on BPA, you better draft one of those 3 guys.
Right.
But if they draft a safety 4th overall, or Jeremiah Love at 4 overall, or an inside linebacker at 4 overall, Sonny Styles, like, that's kind of weird. Like, I think Caleb Downs is a dude. I think he would do wonders for the whole setting the foundational standard here, but you're just missing out on a premier foundational piece overall.
Well, and nuts and bolts of it, I don't know this for sure because I've not been in an NFL draft room, but from what I've heard from people that are in NFL draft rooms, and I think Dan would tell you this too, I think his big board is more just pure football talent than it is representative of what an actual board looks like in an NFL draft room on the day of the draft. Teams weight their board with like positional value in mind. And like Fernando Mendoza is not the most talented football player in this draft class. He may not be a top 5 most talented football player in this draft class, but guess where he will be? At the top of everyone's big board. He's a quarterback.
He's 2. It's Arvell Reese, Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles. So,
and that's honestly surprising to me that he's that high on him. I think he might be the highest. Like, I don't think anybody thinks he is the most talented football player in this class.
Yeah,
I think you can make
quarterbacks rarely are. Quarterbacks rarely are.
That's my point. This is my point. Is that they're going to be at the top of the board anyways because they're quarterbacks.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we all, again, we're kind of aligned on this one that they've got to get in their top 4 picks. They have 4 picks in the top 101. They got to get 1 edge, 1 corner, 1 wide receiver. And there's many different orders and ways that they can get that. We think edge probably at 4, most likely heavy favorite. And then it's kind of a good thing to draft. Yeah, it's who's there at 35, who's there at 66, who's there at 101, what's the trade situation. Like, I doubt they're going to trade back at 4, but they traded back at 35. last year to get more. Now they had a hole in the third round that they had to fill, and they don't have that, right? And the good thing about this class is in this draft, this picks they have, 66 is a second round pick, basically.
I'm
not saying from a grade.
I have an annoying take on that we don't have
compared to 82, compared to 77.
It is the best third round pick you can get.
Second best, technically.
Oh yeah, sorry, second best third round pick you can get. Agreed. But it is a third round pick. I think this concludes our
third round picks are very different. 66 compared to 97. They're both third round picks. They're very different from last year.
I hate how we do this narratively. We play both sides of this, right? Because if you have a pick at the top of a round, we go, well, it's basically a first round pick 34. But if you have a pick at the back of the first round, we say, well, it's basically a second round pick. We can't demean the low first round picks and pump up the high second round picks.
I understand. It depends on what your narrative is, obviously. But last year we were live on the draft night, me, you, and Sam, and we're sitting here watching wide receivers get plucked right in front of the Titans because they had their third round pick at 82.
Mm-hmm.
And all those guys
I think the correct way to say it is it's not just any third round pick. It's the best third round pick. Yeah. Instead of saying it's not just any third round pick, it's basically a second. Well, no, it's a third. Just say it's the best third. That's all.
Second best third round pick.
That's right. Which is way better than your average third round pick.
Way better than the, 18th best third round pick.
I think that concludes the final planning meeting for the A to Z Sports front office. This feels like the late night Thursday night meeting in every team's front office. Like tomorrow we go to war, gentlemen. Tomorrow we do a mock off season.
That's right. We do have trivia to get to. So Easton, if you want to get that machine ready to roll. Hard Pressure Super Chat says Zachariah Branch in the second would be a steal.
We'll fight over that later. I know JT and I don't agree on that at all.
Yeah, I would. In the second, I think I wouldn't call it a steal. Let's just leave it at that.
At 35. See, now that's for the third best second round pick.
Right. Not your average, better than the average Bear.
Maybe not a steal if you're picking later. I don't know. Johnny had a chat. Is curious who Austin wants at quarterback 2 after leaving us on that cliffhanger yesterday. That I think is going to be a great conversation on Friday.
Levis. Duh.
All right,
he's on the roster. You already have a quarterback 2.
We ready for trivia?
Let's do it.
Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process in 11 or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. All right, Easton, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
I'm sharing now. And also, guys, I've buried the lead. I have big news to share with you all from last night on primetime. And let me know that her schedule with her very important nurse duties, saving lives and whatnot, has changed such that she is going to be available on Thursday mornings now.
Ooh!
Wow!
We will get Ann half the time.
She's coming off the IR list early.
That's right.
So that means that's actually a great experiment because we get to do one trivia with and one without Ann.
That's exactly what I told her. Is we're going to start keeping track of how much more successful we are with her every week.
Yeah. Now Orlando has the over at 450. There are 3 of us here, which can either make it go faster or slower, depending on how well we work with each other.
Well, we've got MLB and NHL, so if there was ever a day for JT to carry, this is your day, bud. No pressure.
Oh, boy.
We ready?
Deborah says we're obsessed with Ann. Well, Deborah, if you carried the weight in trivia the way Ann did, we'd be obsessed with you, too.
Are you not obsessed with the best player on your favorite football team? We're just obsessed with our star.
No, Deborah, I'm joking. Deborah's here all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, Darren says, what's Ann's EPA?
Strong.
Pretty good.
Very
good. A lot of points added from Ann.
Much better. Let's just say that Ann would not be on this list.
Yikes.
In the playoffs.
Yes.
Anyways.
All right, let's do it.
Here we go. Chat, lock in. NFL. In his only 3rd season in the NFL, this Raiders edge rusher won AP Defensive Player of the Year in 2016 after totaling 11 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and a pick 6.
Khalil Mack?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
KH?
KH.
God damn it. Here we are.
Now I'm folding.
You just saw it. Okay. There.
What the hell?
Good job.
Geography. What's the most populated country in Africa?
South
Africa?
I feel like it's definitely one of the middle countries, like Somalia or something, where there's been population
No,
booms.
Somalia is not. Morocco?
This is going to be a crapshoot of one.
Egypt,
Kenya?
Nigeria,
Kenya feels right.
We're getting a lot of Nigeria.
All right, let's
Yeah,
try
no, I'm
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
We'll put it on the chat. If they're wrong, it's their fault. Good call,
Bang.
chat.
Okay.
What actress did Tom Cruise proclaim his love for on Oprah's couch in 2005?
What?
Austin,
No,
to you?
No.
I was not watching Oprah at 5 years old.
Okay, who has
I
Tom
wasn't.
Cruise loved before? Not Katie Holmes, is it? Katie Holmes!
that's
What a
what I'm
poll
saying.
by me.
I don't. Sure, man.
I know that they were in love at one point, and it was 2005. Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin played older and younger versions of the same character in this 2012 sci-fi action comedy sequel. Oh, I can see it. What was this called?
I feel like I've seen this.
I remember this being a thing. Chat's gonna know it.
Men in Black 3?
You're totally right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Are we feel good about it being the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music. Ooh, hey, I've been traveling on this road too long. Just trying to find my way back home. Our lyrics from the
Back
2008 TI
home.
song featuring Justin
Dead and
Timberlake.
gone. Dead and gone. Ooh.
Is it Dead and Gone? Is that what it's
Yes.
called? Nice.
Hey!
Chain restaurants. What fast food chain offers heart-shaped trays of chicken nuggets or cookies during Valentine's Day? Is this
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A?
I feel like Chick-fil-A is the answer here.
I know heart-shaped pizzas, but heart-shaped
That-
trays
yeah.
of chicken
Chick-fil-A.
nuggets?
I'm going Chick-fil-A.
That feels right. All right, JT. Alexander Semin, dare I say, had 40-plus goals and 40-plus assists for this Eastern Conference team in 2009 and 2010. This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
Chat? Washington?
Washington? Capitals? Sure.
Capital.
saying the
Yeah,
Caps.
we're on caps.
Sure, man.
Why not? Nice.
Okay.
In 2012, pitcher Chris Medlin set a record as this National League team won its 23rd straight game in which he started.
You should know this, Easton.
This is my Braves.
It is.
Mm.
This is at the height of my Braves hatred. So
How many of those
celeb
23
mashup.
were against the Mets?
I don't remember that.
A couple of
I
them.
can't tell you that. Is that Charlie Puth's hair?
No. I know Puth's face. That's not Puth. But it is a young lad. Jessica Biel in the middle? Does that feel right? Rami Malek and Jessica Biel? That actually seems...
Yeah, I think
That
the
could
ears
play.
are.
That could
yeah,
play.
Rami. I'd say that's a good looking person, just in
Sure.
general.
Bang.
Whoever had that in the chat first nailed it. Bustin' Diamond. Great poll.
Yeah. Jeff said I
Nice.
was useless today, although I had 2 more correct than he had today. So
Jeff's just a freaking hater, dude.
I'll leave on that.
What do you think the rest of Jeff's day is like?
Training for his new job.
That's right.
It's true.
All right. Well, hey. Well done, gentlemen. 9 for 9.
Tomorrow.
345.
Tomorrow's the big day.
That's right.
Our
It's
mock,
gonna be hour 48. We're gonna start trivia.
we went an hour and 23 today, and that trivia was fast.
Yeah.
So
Lock in.
be ready for tomorrow, the mock off season for the Titans. So make sure you hit that like button, like the show on your way out. We appreciate you guys. Buck will be live for prime time again tonight and live tomorrow, the Titans full mock off season all the way through. Looking forward to that. See you guys then. Appreciate it.